Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with the Learn Plan Profit. Hope you guys are all having a good morning. It's 2 minutes until the market opens, and I wanted to talk about a couple of mainly ETFs that are performing during pre-market hours. I want to congratulate everyone that ended up holding JDST and whatever bear gold-based ETF is out there. Looks like it started showing signs of an uptrend forward slash CL. Had a pretty solid sell-off right before the market opened, and forward slash NG also started to sell off, which is in favor of DGAS. I'm going to start sharing my screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that I am going to be looking at. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. I'm going to be doing some technical analysis first and then going from there. So let me go ahead and just make sure that I'm sharing my screen. We're all good here. I set an alert for the break below 67 for forward slash CL. I want to be watching, drip pretty closely. Also, if you look at UWT, UWT is showing signs of a downward pattern. DWT, again, this one has a little bit of lower volume, but DWT is the one that's showing signs of an uptrend pattern as of right now as a day trade, not long term. We are approaching this SMA indicator. I'm going to set an alert for if it breaks higher highs with that resistance at 705, or if it begins to pull back and breaks below its current support. So let's go ahead and set that up. I'm going to put DWT in my watch list just because that's currently what's actively trending up. And there we go. I want to see how JDST is going to perform as the market opens. So I'm going to go back to the 1 day, 1 minute chart, see if we see a little bit of a sell-off. Looks like it peaked out pretty nicely. Again, JDST is the one that was showing signs of an uptrend pattern all day, mainly yesterday. Looking at forward slash CL, it looks like it wants to show signs of a recovery, which should be in favor of JNUG itself. But because JNUG itself within the past couple of days has been so bearish, not too sure if it's going to hold. I really just want to follow whatever's actively trending up, and it looks like JDST is definitely going to be the move on this one. So Tesla just broke below its support again. There it goes, hitting highs of 88. Wow, holy crud! You guys see that? This thing just wow.
What is it?
So that was JDST. That would have been nice to have taken a position, but let's see for day trade opportunity if it recovers. So DGAS also just broke and started making higher highs, so that's really nice on that. And again, this one did a really nice job covering about 2% margin yesterday. So I'm going to set another alert and just follow up with this one. So let's keep a close eye on this one. I'm going to, because I need to see your guys' messages. All right, let's check this out. So JNUG should try to recover a little bit. Let's see how it does. Has a 1.8% margin for recovery. Yeah, so JNUG, again, like we talked about right during pre-market hours, it's showing a really strong sign of a downward pattern. JDST is the one that's really starting to show signs of a continuous uptrend pattern. I want you guys to know that on the 180-day analysis, the JDST is very overextended. It's not a good deal, right? So it's definitely hitting that $90 resistance, which makes sense. Here we go. Let's see. Whoa, the spread is wide. Holy moly. All right, let's see it.
DWT broke.
I see it. So we're early today. What's up? Okay, so stuck in JNUG at 720. My goodness, at 720. Okay, so it sounds like maybe you got in yesterday. As of right now, it's just that JNUG isn't showing any signs of an uptrend pattern. As of right now, it's trading in between the middle and bottom VWAP. And it just sold off very aggressively during pre-market, right as the market opened. So I don't find that to be too attractive. Again, going back to forward slash GC, that itself is trying to show signs of an uptrend pattern, but as you guys see, again, that's why we never want to trade solely based off of the future itself, because as we see with /GC, this isn't something that saw that huge sell-off, right? So we're seeing a slight recovery for for JNUG itself. Let's see if it actually ends up holding. Last time that it tried, it ended up getting rejected. So let's see how this ends up popping. Yeah, so wouldn't JNUG be better, though, since JDST is very overextended? In the idea of a potential swing trade, yes, but when it comes down to what is actively trending up and what is actively trending down, I would still try to pay a little bit more attention to, at least in my eyes, to whatever's actively trending up today, right? And today it's still JDST. So although, yes, I do understand that JNUG does have a lot more margin for recovery and JDST is very overextended, it still makes more sense to me why JDST can continue to uptrend because it has such a consistent, previous 10 to 20 days of an ongoing uptrend. Does that make sense? So, yeah. Ricky, what's your opinion on drip? I set an alert on drip. Wow. Okay, it went off and I didn't even know it. Oh, my alert is set at 7:30 if I'm not mistaken. So drip is showing signs of an uptrend pattern. Looking at /CL, it continues to make lower lows, which is something that I personally don't find to be too attractive, right? With /CL. So then that's why I think that drip is going to be, again, this one's the one that's bullish. It's trading between the middle and top view up. It continues to make higher highs. Looking at the 180-day analysis, it is making signs or showing signs of an uptrend pattern. So it definitely does make sense on why it's pushing up. Same thing with DWT. DWT is very similar in the sense of that pattern. I set an alert for the break above 705 just because that was highs of yesterday, and we could see that that's currently still a potential resistance as of today. So JNUG is doing a pretty good job trying to recover. Let's see if it actually ends up doing a good job if it holds, because that's the most important part to me of what continues to uptrend throughout the day. And I don't think that JNUG is based on previous patterns. JNUG doesn't show that characteristic, but who knows, right? This thing can definitely end up recovering and continue to rally up. I'll have to cut losses on JDST and move my attention on over to JNUG itself. Let's check it. Okay. Correct. With the SPS IOP index, yes, it does follow that closely, but the index itself doesn't trade during extended hours, so it makes no difference to me. Then why look at two charts that are almost exactly the same for Gush and SPS IOP? I see much more to understand overall direction and to see which one's actively trending up and down, even during extended hours when the stock market isn't still going. I still see a lot more value in paying attention to futures rather than indexes. So. All right, here we go. Let's see, is this the peak for it? Yeah, and I don't like to rely on obviously with /GC and the gold-based ETFs that we're trading. They're not always identical, especially with /GC and Gush and Drip. One that follows, I think, /GC very closely is DWT and UWT, but to have a general understanding of what's bullish and what's bearish, that's what's most important to me. So. Speaking to aftermarket hours, if we don't have access to aftermarket hour charts, does it affect our analysis? Thanks, man. I would say having a little bit more data for that technical analysis is definitely very useful. DWT just made higher highs. So again, DWT is the one that follows. It's the inverse of /CL, and /CL just made lower lows. So again, yesterday ended up hitting about the same lows as we experienced today. So just be careful if it ends up not hold, if it, oh, there it goes, holy moly. DWT should have popped up. There we go. No, there's not a like schedule that I have that clears past resistance lines. If I see it too cluttered, then I can remove it, but it's not a schedule that I have. It's not like, okay, every third of the month, I just clear out, but no, nothing like that. All right. Do you think Apple could reverse today? I think I don't know why it would. What's Apple's ticker symbol again?
Wasn't it? Didn't it just pop up? AAPL,
Oh,
I believe. Right?
yeah. Thank you. So do I think that it could reverse today? Like, do I think it could do a full recovery? Probably not. It's been selling off for quite some time, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Yeah, so Apple's still showing signs of a downward pattern. It's showing signs of consolidation around this, 220 price point. I could see how it's kind of consolidating. It's still trending below this EMA line, so I would still be a little bit more patient for the recovery. If you want to day trade it, all power to you. The MACD and all that still, I think, needs a little bit more time. So, but it looks like it's doing a really good job. Wow, JNUG is pushing up. It looks like it's doing a really good job trading in between the middle and top VWAP. Let's see if we break highs for the day, I'm gonna have to pull out. Yeah, /GC going up. I do see that it is starting to show signs of a recovery. There it goes. That was a really solid recovery that JNUG had. I just really didn't want to force. I felt like I was forcing my trades on JNUG all week, and although they played out well, I just didn't want Friday to be a reason that they don't. But yeah, because of this aggressive sell-off, it built this margin, right? So really nice to be able to see that from not even the very bottom, but when it started to show signs of an uptrend. Let's say even at like $7. At $7 above the middle VWAP to where it peaked out about 1.8%. Is definitely not bad for a quick little day trade. So, and that was in about 7 minutes. So we could see that during pre-market hours, the SMA indicator right here was showing signs of a potential peak formation. Okay, so Tesla with big news. Okay, Tesla I think this is a perfect example for Tesla of something that is actively trending down and being rejected by that middle VWAP. Look how perfect this is. Every time that it tries to recover, right, gets rejected by that middle VWAP, showing signs of a very aggressive downward pattern. So as of right now, no signs of recovery just yet. Maybe something that we can wait out for. Yeah, TOS being very slow today. I do see that. I like it. I'm up a whole $6 on JNUG. We had a couple people that were down on JNUG, right? That were at an average of around like 710, 720. So not too sure how comfortable you guys feel with the current pattern. Again, just one thing that I would take into consideration is the overall SMA, as that could be a potential support, resistance. And if we start seeing this thing start making lower lows, just maybe something that we might want to take into consideration to lock in those profits. The MACD bar, definitely a little bit more on the overextended side, looking at previous patterns, and it makes sense on why this thing can start curling back down, right, and start making lower bars. And there we go. We just got the first bar of it making of that descending right pattern. Okay, we have someone calling out ticker symbol shop. Okay, well, shop showing signs of an ongoing uptrend. It continues to make higher highs, doing a really good job holding above that middle VWAP. It's honestly almost trading above the top VWAP. Okay. Let's zoom out a little bit. MACD bar starting to show signs of a peak formation, very overextended, so it's due, I would say, for a pullback. I like that. Congrats. Let's see. What is that?
GameStop?
GameStop?
GME?
What did they come out with today?
I don't know, I was looking at it last night.
Oh, their earnings report. Well, it looks like it sold off pretty aggressively and then it started to recover. Wow, that's a huge recovery. That's
Almost
over
like
10%.
4%.
That's
What?
10%
Where?
recovery for GameStop.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look at the margin. From when it even broke below the when it pulled back and broke above the middle view up and where it peaked out at, that's about 8%. If you go from the very bottom to top. There we go. JNX starting to sell off. There's my JDST at. Let's see. Let's be patient. I'm going to be patient with this one. I'm going to wait. One thing that I liked about how I performed yesterday was before I added more to my position, I waited for the break above the middle VWAP. So I'm going to wait for the push above that to get, or at least above the EMA line to get more of a confirmation that the direction is moving up. As of right now, there could be a pullback confirmation on JNUG, right? So it pushed up, pulled back. It could definitely bounce off the middle VWAP and continue to rally up. And that's what I want to see what happens. Again, we called out the peak formation. So for those that were able to catch that, showed signs of it being overextended, not only with the pattern itself and, the highs, it was very close to the SMA indicator, which acted as a previous resistance, right? So let's make sure that we note that. Looking at the MACD bar, this is where we started seeing this descending MACD, which was the first confirmation right here, and then that's when it started to show signs of that descending pattern. And then, that was really just that after we got the confirmation with that, the RSI was a little bit more on the overbought side, and then based on previous patterns that the SMA would act as a resistance. So just wanted to share that with you guys. So anytime that you guys are breaking down a stock or trying to identify maybe when to exit, hopefully this can act as a better understanding of when to identify. And look, just like we called it out, JNUG is showing signs of a potential bounce. Let's see if it could start. If it starts making higher highs, then that's going to be in favor of JNUG itself. So it looks like it's trying to bounce right around this EMA line, which it 100% can. And the MACD bars are kind of in its favor as well. It looks like they're trying to hold. So I have a video showing how to set it up in the course. It's just for the MACD. So for the MACD indicator on TOS. All right, let's check it out. MACD bar looks like it's trying to recover. Yeah, so if you go to studies, you can go here and you can go to, where's it at? It's just this, and it's the upper and lower band. That's all it is. There we go. Let's check it out. Okay, so it looks like FIT is starting to show signs of an uptrend pattern, but not big picture. It's the overall descending pattern, so it wouldn't be a hold. in my eyes. I would say if it's overextended, MACD is not in its favor, RSI is not in its favor. I would say it's probably done rallying. Thank you. All right. DWT looks like it pulled back a little bit. Okay. So we'll see if it continues to rally. Should be the same with DRIP. Yep, pulling back a little bit. DGAS itself consolidating. So let's look at /NG. Yeah, /NG still showing signs of a descending pattern. That's in favor of DGAS itself. Thank you. I'm going to try to be patient with this and see if we can just get the overall, because again, if we look at the overall patterns just based on yesterday, JNEG did a really good job trying to hold, and then it just continued to descend throughout the entire day. And that's what I want to see what happens. I want to see if it will continue that pattern where it peaks out, then descends. I can lock in profits on JDST. It tries to recover. I can potentially day trade JNEG, and then it descends throughout the entire day. Then I'll trade JNEG for a longer day trade. So I just want to go with the flow, right? That's the plan today. There it goes, descending pattern. JDST just broke above that middle VWAP. I want to wait for a pullback confirmation. So note this. As of right now, do you see how we got like a nice little bounce here, starting to show signs of an uptrend pattern? I want to ask you guys, why don't I just take a position right now? So at $87, we got to push up. It's above the middle VWAP. It's above the EMA line. Why not just take a position right now? I 100% can, but what is it that I might want to wait out for? So the MACD indicator looks good, right? It looks like it's showing signs almost of a buy signal. Pattern looks good, above EMA line, above middle VWAP. It's starting to make higher highs. Now at this point, now that it's making higher highs, so confirmation. What I want to see is that it's either going to pull back and confirm with a bounce, or it's going to start making higher highs, as in breaking the previous highs and continue that uptrend rally. And I think we got that as of right now. I just want to confirm it a little bit more. A second green candle. Yep, that's a great way to do it. Even a pullback confirmation. As long as I see, even if this thing pulls back, as long as I see that it doesn't go as low as it did before, and then it continues to rally, that's what I want to see. Again, we want to grow our accounts. So just forget about the idea of growing your accounts. What is it? What patterns must you focus to grow your accounts? Right? Something that's trending up. It makes sense, right? If you're going long and not shorting, right? But like, if you want to grow your account, then you need to start getting the confirmation that there's an ongoing uptrend. And sometimes when people, as something shoots up, they buy right away. This is a very common mistake that people make when it comes down to momentum trading. But if something just shot up and you're buying as it, just shot up, wouldn't it make sense that it would pull back? Because you didn't. I mean, it pushed up, but you didn't ride that push up. You bought it as it was already overextended. So then why not wait for a pullback confirmation and then ride it as it continues to rally? Does that make sense? There we go, a little pullback. And again, if I would have purchased it way up here, that would have been, even 1% that I would have been down on that, additional shares that I would have added. So again, we pulled back and we're right around that SMA line. So, I want to be patient. Looks like JNUG should be back at around that general area. So I still think that JDST shows signs of a potential recovery. I just have to wait out for it. So can you guys give me like 1 second? I'm going to blow my nose.
No.
Oh, that's it.
¿Qué dije ya, verdad?
Yeah.
Sí, le hice lo mismo. I don't wear 4 blocks. It's too many to look at. I didn't put alerts. Okay.
We broke yesterday's highs for sure.
What do you normally eat for breakfast?
I don't know, it's different almost all the time. And there it goes, JNUG. JNUG again, riding that resistance right around 710. I mean, it's not looking great for, because now we just broke below the SMA line, which means that JNUG should start pushing up and making higher highs. Oh, my Tesla alert went off. Okay, so Tesla's showing signs of a potential recovery, but it's still pretty bearish throughout, all of pre-market hour. So again, what would make sense? A potential pullback confirmation would definitely make sense, right? All right, let's check this out. There we go. JNUG just broke to 712. So are we going to break above the SMA indicator? There's a pullback. J-Dub is saying, sorry, Ricky, I hope JDSE crashes and burns because I'm in JNUG. Oh my goodness, you cracked me up. That was like so aggressive.
It's a little too early.
Made my first $10. Pumped. Isaiah, that's super sick. Super happy to hear that. /CL potentially recovering. Let's see. Okay, so it is showing signs of a potential recovery, so that should be in favor of UWT, not DWT, right? So it's showing signs of potential pullback. Just try to identify like what indicators does it normally bounce at or act as a support or a resistance for whichever ETF you're trading. So, but yeah, really nice call on that one. Let's see it. Okay. There it goes. There goes JNUG making highs. Yeah, I still watch Kyle, to answer your question, I still watch /CL very closely when it comes down to that. So again, is OSTK a good swing trade? Like, you're not giving me anything that you've done your own technical analysis, so that's not really something that I could answer. It wouldn't make sense, right, for me to answer that? Like, yeah. Oh, Chris, that's super sweet. Congrats on the huge week. LABD. Sounds like it's really performing. So it really performed this morning, right? Okay. Okay, but it's showing signs of a peak formation, right? And it's a continuous downward pattern, so it makes sense on why this thing would sell off. So then for LABU, this thing would start to show signs of a potential recovery. So I think that's, interesting to have. So let's add whichever one's actively trending up now. There we go. Where's /GC? Yeah, /GC is not showing signs of it being very bullish anymore. Yeah, Austin, I would just be very iffy about going into any swing trades as of right now. Even just with a 1 day confirmation, it just wouldn't make much sense. Yeah, so DO, it could be also due to its guidance. So although its earnings might be off, this is something that I've seen happen with Tesla. And even sometimes it's happened with like AMD. AMD had a really good earnings, but it sold off very aggressively. So that's definitely something that I would take into consideration. I would look a little bit more into it and see what caused, the push up. If there's some form of guidance that they promoted or something like that that led to this, push up. So yeah. Yeah, we just got to push above the SMA indicator. Gee willikers. And there's that aggressive sell-off. Yep, we're definitely starting to show signs of a downward pattern. Let's check it. J-Dub is saying it's burning. How many of you guys are up now on JNUG? Are you guys up on JNUG? Appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Yeah, there goes JNUG, still pushing up, still rallying. Wow. Okay. 4% on JNUG so far. Yeah, there it goes. TNDM. Okay, so TNDM definitely did have a really nice push up. It's definitely a little bit more on the overextended side. It's a very consistent uptrend pattern, so it definitely makes sense on why it's pushing up. It looks a little bit overextended. I would wait a little bit more for a pullback confirmation to try to get in at a better price. It would make sense on why it would pull back. That's the reason why that I would wait for a pullback. So, but yeah, really nice call out. There goes JNX. So just to talk a little bit more about this, so what card did I sell? I'll be announcing it later throughout the day today. But the reason that I'm still iffy, I should have, if anything, cut losses quicker on JDST, and it wouldn't make much sense for me to do it now. And the reason why is we're seeing JNEG definitely push up, and it's starting to show signs of an uptrend pattern. If you look at /GC, it's still not making higher highs. It's still like right around that middle VWAP. The overall pattern itself, it's not trending above the middle VWAP. It is pushing up above it, but multiple times as we've seen it, as it's descending, it tries to push up and then gets rejected, tries to push up and then gets rejected. And that's one of the very consistent patterns that I've been able to see with JNEG itself. And although it is showing signs of an uptrend pattern intraday, let's see. I would still say that, no, I mean, definitely can continue to rally. And the MACD, it's just so overextended, it would just sold my JNUG. All right, Jay, hopefully we don't need, well, congrats on that trade, first of all. So for all those that bought at like 710, 720, the RSI definitely shows signs of a peak formation. The MACD, again, showing signs of it peaking out a little bit. Looking at /GC, it looks like it's starting to, get rejected as it peaked out and starting to pull back a little bit. So very obvious signs of potential peak formation. It definitely can continue to rally, but again, we're reaching a range and a territory where it's a little bit more on the overbought side. I think we could all agree on that. And I'm just trying to be patient with my trade, but maybe my patience is going to lead to a little bit more of a loss than I should have taken. And that's why I took a 50% position. I don't know if you guys saw, I didn't take like a $30,000 position on JNUG. I took a smaller position as, I was still getting in before the confirmation and stuff like that, or before the reversal. So I definitely could have waited a little bit more for my entry when it came down to entering JDST, as I was buying as it was selling off. So mistake for me on that side. All right. Okay, so yeah, definitely shows that up for a potential bounce around this area. So thank you again, Andres, for that call out. That's why I set my alert for $100. If anything, on the 180-day analysis, this is definitely the one that's been more bullish. LABD, we can see that it's showing more signs of a downward pattern, so I think that's very easy to identify. So great call out, great reminder. DWT looks like it's starting to recover, so I'll keep an eye out on this if it starts to push up again. Let's take a look at DGAS. DGAS is still selling off. We'll see if it bounces and then if it breaks above $25. So, of course, Irvin, I'll check out that message. Thank you. So if I open up the active trader tab, what do you mean of what I look at? I don't really use any of the. I could buy at market and sell at market if I were to use this, but I use my hotkeys instead. I find it to be a little bit more efficient. Okay. All right. Isaiah saying, thanks, Ricky, I'm out. Let's see. What were you trading, Isaiah? Oh, you made your first $10. I like it. D-gas isn't U-gas, so I don't like it. Yeah, we got JNUG is definitely doing a very good job being very bullish today, and I definitely missed out on a pretty decent margin, I think, at least from my side. I just didn't want to be so biased, but I guess by not trying to be biased, I ended up being biased anyways on JDST. It's pretty frustrating, but yeah. Yeah, I like that, being patient. Have fun today. Take care, Cody. Made 24. Wow, holy moly, that's huge. I'm looking at shop. Okay. Alrighty. I'm just gonna set my alerts and kind of go with the flow after that. So yeah, it definitely looks like still JNUG is being bullish. The MACD is again, the RSI is starting to point right back up again. The MACD is starting to curve almost back up. So, yeah, and the overall pattern itself is still showing signs of it being bullish. And there it goes. This was like, yeah. So it's making now lower highs or higher lows, as in like it's not pulling back as much as it was before, which is definitely in favor of JNUG. So yeah, so let me go ahead and break down Nike, and then I'll answer just any like FAQs, and then we'll close out the stream. Alrighty, so yeah, Nike is definitely showing signs of consolidation, so it definitely created a really nice, margin for recovery. So the way that I would break this down is that, okay, so we have an ascending uptrend pattern, right? As of right now, I would focus on this area right here. There's a lot of consolidation. So what I would like to see is for this thing to start making higher highs. So I would act that as a resistance, this as a support. And as of right now, we're just getting a lot of consolidation. Ask yourself, like, is this EMA line pointing up? Is it starting to show signs of an uptrend pattern? Not yet, right? So that's why we have our alert set here for the break above 81. I would like a little bit more confirmation of an uptrend. And then the overall previous resistance. So again, just identifying a territory or a range. So we can go over here to drawing studies. And then you can go here. I go to the you can go here. So to the rectangle. And then we can draw like a little triangle around this area right here where, it's more of this like sell territory, right? So with that understanding, I could focus on, okay, so this might be a good buy territory. This is where I want to capitalize and make my profit. And then this is the area that I want to sell. So again, we did a breakdown on something that's showing signs of an ongoing uptrend, waiting for the consolidation, waiting for the ongoing uptrend and stuff like that. So yeah. Yeah, so well, David, this thing, yeah, you could definitely watch this one later. So it just needs a little bit to like a little bit of time to like process after I finish going live, and then you could watch it at a later time. There it goes. All right. Oh, I think that's what you guys are talking about. So many people were talking about something that Don Fron talks about ranges or zones or something like that. I don't know if that's. I did see one of the videos that he was talking about that he had certain indicators like that. So yeah, I don't know, Don. So yeah. So I don't know if he calls it zones or ranges. We've talked about it before. I tend to call them ranges, but it doesn't matter what they are. They're just price points. It's a territory, right? It's a price range or a territory where it's a little bit more on the overbought side. So kind of again breaking down JNUG, we're reaching this territory within like 720 to 730. Based on previous patterns, this is really where it consolidates. So it could be viewed as like sell territory, sell range, sell zones, whatever it is that you want to call it. Or whatever makes more sense to you. All power to you, as long as you understand when something's overbought or oversold. That's the principle. So, all right. Wait, Don, do you call it a zone? Is that what you call it? Yeah. Do you know if that's what he calls it?
So they're saying.
Okay.
And that you call it territory. Or Don said that. Don says he used the word zone and you use territory. And you just did.
My goodness. I'll go with range. I like price range. I think that makes...
I feel like you naturally say territory, though.
Yeah.
I've heard it quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay, downward pattern. DGAS. Definitely a little bit more on the overbought side, oversold side. Potential recovery, but no reversal just yet. And then LABU showing signs of a potential recovery, peak formation. So we'll see if it continues to uptrend. Alrighty. But yeah, we're not getting a lot of FAQs. We caught up on direct messages a little while ago. So I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I'll keep you guys up to date with my JDST position on what I end up doing. I personally think JNUG itself is a little bit more on the overbought side. I could be completely wrong, and I could be down to $200 to $300 that I'm probably down right now. So I'm just going to try to keep it simple. I'll keep you guys up to date with my position. Let's just focus on whatever's actively trending up. A mistake that I had today was I was trying to not be biased by trading JNUG again because I've been trading it so much this week that I became just so forceful to not trade it that ended up biting me in the butt, right? But I'm super happy to hear that a lot of you guys were able to not only make but also recover some of the losses that you guys had. So that's what's most important. And I think I did a pretty good job in today's video explaining my thought process and stuff like that, which is something that we don't always focus on in every single video. So Yeah. Yeah, so JDSC is trying to push up. As of right now, I could see JNUG pulling back a little bit, but I'm just going to give it a little bit more time before I add to my position on JDST, if I even add to my position. So I want to thank you guys again for your time. If you guys have any suggestions on how I can make these live streams better, you guys know that that's all what that's what I'm here for. So if you have any suggestions, I feel like a suggestion that I received last week was if I can focus a little bit more on my technical analysis and explaining myself. And that's why I've been trying to articulate a little bit more, and sharing my thought process. I hope that it's more effective for our newer traders, and it's something that you guys find useful and resourceful, right? If so, great. We'd really appreciate the feedback. And if you have any area of improvement, just let me know, right? I literally make these videos for you guys. So let me know what you want. And the worst thing that I could say is no, right? But yeah, thank you guys again so much. Hope you guys all have an amazing Friday. I'll keep you guys up to date on the move-in on the new house, and then also the sell of the car that I just got rid of. So super pumped on that. Hope you guys all have an amazing Friday. Let's eat some Raising Cane's and have some fun. Honestly, I should be paid by Raising Cane's and I promote it so much. It's ridiculous. But yeah, hope you guys have an amazing day. Take it easy, team.